The 4th Avenue protected bike lane in Seattle currently ends in Belltown, but the city has plans to extend it to Seattle Center in 2026. Hi, I'm Bob Swirsel. I'm going to show you what a bike connection from Belltown to Seattle Center could look like, using early designs from the city and proposed alternatives from advocates, including myself. Let's check them out. Here's the situation. Right now, the two-way protected bike lane on 4th Avenue ends at Vine Street, forcing northbound cyclists to ride with traffic and change lanes to continue towards Seattle Center. It's not a comfortable situation. Also, because it's a one-way street, cyclists who want to head south on 4th Avenue have to access it from other streets. Seattle is one of many host cities for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The city is planning to have a FIFA fan zone at Seattle Center, and they have created this project to better connect the fan zone with activities in downtown Seattle and matches at Lumen Field. This will also close a gap in bike infrastructure between 4th Avenue and Thomas Street. We'll first look at the early designs announced in summer 2025 by SDOT, the Seattle Department of Transportation. Please note, these are my interpretations of how the draft designs could look, and SDOT will likely change the designs as they get closer to construction in 2026. From 4th Avenue and Vine Street, the two-way protected bike lanes will extend one block farther to Cedar Street. At Cedar Street, there will be a diagonal crossing to get cyclists from the west side of 4th Avenue to the east side. The right lane will be repurposed for the two-way protected bike lane, which will continue past Clay Street towards Denny Way. At Denny Way, the angled parking spots on the east side of the street will be removed and replaced with the two-way protected bike lane. Now, it's a little confusing from the diagrams, but at Broad Street, it looks like the curb will be extended and the bike lanes will go onto the sidewalk briefly before running along the east side of the road towards 5th Avenue. At 5th Avenue, the two-way protected bike lanes end, and cyclists are supposed to use the existing walk phase to get to Thomas Street at the end of the project. On the good side, this design has the protected bike lane following an intuitive route going directly towards the Space Needle, which is the landmark most people will use to find their way, and it allows for visitors to easily access taxis and charter buses from Seattle Center. On the bad side, this design includes yet another disruptive and unintuitive diagonal crossing of a protected bike lane. It gives an unclear description of how cyclists are supposed to travel through two key intersections, which can be dangerous, especially with a two-way bike facility. We'll next look at a proposal from Tom Fukuloro, who runs the Seattle Bike blog. By the way, congratulations on hitting 15 years of reporting through the website. You can read his analysis and proposal on the Seattle Bike blog using a link in the video description. Starting from 4th Avenue and Vine Street, the two-way protected bike lanes again get extended, but at Cedar Street, instead of crossing diagonally to the east side of 4th Avenue, they continue along the west side. Now, this is the only spot that Tom did not mention, so I'm interpreting here what I believe he would want. Approaching Denny Way, the left exit lane of 4th Avenue to Clay Street would be closed off, and the protected bike lanes would use the left lane. Between Denny Way and Broad Street, the direction of vehicle traffic would be switched from one-way northbound to one-way southbound, which would allow the angled parking to be preserved or the sidewalk to be extended. Getting to Broad Street, the road would be changed from two-way to one-way. The current southwestbound lanes would be closed to create space for an expansion of the sidewalk, a bikeway, and pickup area for taxis and charter buses. The northeastbound lanes would be reversed to southwestbound. The idea behind this is that it would make creating a protected bike lane connection along the remainder of Broad Street to the Elliott Bay Trail much easier. Tom notes, this proposed connection is listed in the 2024 Seattle Transportation Plan. The protected bike lane would continue around the corner onto 5th Avenue and end at Thomas Street. However, there is another 2-block gap in bike infrastructure to the north, so Tom proposes that the two-way protected bike lane be extended north to fill that gap. On the good side, this proposal simplifies the experience of riding the two-way protected bike lane, which will be greatly beneficial to both new and seasoned cyclists. It also sets the stage for future bike infrastructure projects. On the bad side, this proposal will require a much greater budget to implement, and SDOT would have a trickier time resolving traffic issues, including the fact that Broad Street and 5th Avenue are part of the city's freight network, as minor truck streets. The third design we'll look at is one that I am proposing as an alternative. Starting at 4th Avenue and Vine Street, again the protected bike lane will be extended to Cedar Street. At Cedar Street, instead of continuing along 4th Avenue, the protected bike lanes will instead turn right and head north on the east side of Cedar Street. I think there is plenty of space for a two-way protected bike lane to run on the east side of Cedar Street, continuing on to 5th Avenue. There would be a floating bus stop at 5th Avenue and Denny Way. Since this project is meant to connect to Seattle Center, cyclists will be encouraged to turn left onto John Street, which reaches the Space Needle. The two-way protected bike lane would continue north to Thomas Street on the east side of 5th Avenue, avoiding any parking conflicts with the monorail support columns on the west side of the street. At Thomas Street, the protected bike lanes could be extended farther north all the way to Mercer Street to create an easy way to reach those protected bike lanes and fill another gap in the city's bike network. On the good side, this design avoids the traffic conflicts on 4th Avenue at Clay Street and Broad Street, and it is a more direct connection to Thomas Street. On the bad side, this design doesn't really connect well to Seattle Center, which is a key goal of the project, and it produces some conflicts with the freight network. This project is a surprise opportunity to quickly fill a gap in the city's bike network, and I hope that the city creates a design that promotes safe and comfortable access. If you are interested in advocating for a better design, I encourage you to reach out to the project team to provide your feedback in a respectful way, and to organize with neighbors or an organization like Seattle Neighborhood Greenways. I'm excited for Seattle to build better bike infrastructure, and I look forward to riding it once it's completed. Thank you for joining me for this video. If you want to see more of my content, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you next time.